Today, some voters in Charleston County will head to the polls to choose a Republican candidate for Charleston County Sheriff. No candidate received more than 50% of the vote, which triggered today's runoff between Greg Kitchens and Carl Ritchie. The winner will go on to face a Democrat incumbent in the fall, Sheriff Kristen Graziano, and they are both joining us on Good Morning Charleston this morning. We start with Mr. Kitchens. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Mel.
We appreciate it. Let's get to the number one issue. What do you think that is facing all Charleston County residents, and how do you plan to fix it if elected?
Our sheriff's office right now has a huge deficit of people to do the job. Wearing that badge, wearing that uniform, it takes a heck of a lot of dedication. It's not like the military, we do drafting or something.
Yeah.
Everybody that puts on that uniform wants to be there, wants to serve the public. And they deserve good leadership, they deserve sound training, and they deserve a culture of professionalism. That's what I'm ready to provide.
Al Cannon Detention Center, you talk about staffing. I know a lot of reports Al Cannon being severely understaffed and really has been in the headlines in recent years with the Department of Justice investigations into inmate deaths. There are many other concerns. How would you fix these issues transparently?
No, we just had a suicide in the jail within the last couple of days.
Yeah, on Sunday.
And when you're somewhere around, the exact figure varies, I think, from day to day, but when you're somewhere around 100 people short, 100 detention officers short, there's no way to fully and properly provide protection to those inmates.
What's the issue with staffing? Is it hiring and money? What does it boil down to?
People don't take jobs as teachers. People don't take jobs in the military, and people don't take jobs in law enforcement for pay. Pay's an issue. It has to be adequate. And Charleston County pays some of the best pay for those jobs in the state of South Carolina. So pay cannot be the issue. It is a leadership issue. When you provide good leadership and create a culture of excellence, good people want to be part of that. And that is what I intend to change as your sheriff.
What specific changes to the sheriff's office protocol do you plan to make? I know there is also a concern with morale.
Morale is connected. When you start losing people, it's usually a big indicator of morale. As an example of how important leadership and morale is, if you step outside of Charleston County into Berkeley County, they're fully staffed, turning away qualified applicants. Pretty good. If you step over into the city of Somerville, the police chief there does a good job, very connected with the community, highly professional police officers, and fully staffed, turning away qualified applicants. That's important, how important leadership is to our sheriff's office. That's what I intend to provide. It's developing a culture. Leadership is about, it's not like I'm the boss, I'm the leader. You really have to focus on what's happening at the sergeant level, at the lieutenant level. You have to change the culture into something where they're not so much looking for negatives, but looking for positives. Do the people in the neighborhood know the name of that officer? Do they respect that officer? Do they actually go to that officer with information about criminal activity? That's the kind of change I'm looking for, and that's what I need leaders to be making happen at the real level where it really happens.
I want to ask how you respond to your opponent's statement about being less experienced serving the local public.
You know, I have more experience than my opponent as a deputy sheriff, working with rural people in the real communities that the sheriff's office actually serves. You know, my opponent, fine man, a lot of law enforcement experience in Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant is a fine community, but is not representative of Charleston County as a whole, and it's certainly not representative of the parts of Charleston County that the sheriff's office is primarily responsible for.
And last question, as you make your last pitch to voters listening this morning, what do you think sets yourself apart?
You know, I have so much experience outside of law enforcement. I retired from the Marine Corps, a colonel. I had deployments in Afghanistan and Iraq. I've been in business here in locally, and for that matter, president of Patriots Point Foundation. I've been very involved in the community in other ways. I have a better feel for Charleston, I believe, than somebody that's been isolated in law enforcement all those years. And quite frankly, the law enforcement community is getting behind me in droves. It's just been humbling to have so many cops reach out and say, we want you to be our next sheriff, Colonel Kitchens.
I've seen the endorsements come in. Also, I've seen endorsements on the other side. Colonel Kitchens, we thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much, Mel.
On Election Day. And make sure you stay with us. Polls again open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Mr. Kitchens' opponent, Ritchie, will join us coming up.